home buyers.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
Talk Radio, on the hour news headlines.
The family of Leicester City's owner, who died in a helicopter crash, have laid a wreath outside the club stadium. A sea of candles and flowers have been left by crowds paying tribute to Wichai Siwat Hana Prava. The Thai billionaire was among 5 people who were killed on Saturday night. The club's ambassador, Alan Birchnall, says he made a massive difference.
This guy did everything for this football club and the community. All the hospitals in this city and county benefited from his donations. He wouldn't want me to go and tell you how much he's spent, but he's given millions away over the last 8 years. Just a brilliant guy, and he's going to be missed.
The Health Secretary has told Talk Radio we can expect a balanced approach from the Chancellor in today's budget. Matt Hancock says the economy has been growing strongly, so there's more money to go around, and he welcomes a £2 billion increase in funding for mental health services.
Well, we've got to make sure that we get mental health services onto a par with the services that you'd expect for looking after your physical health. And so £2 billion is a significant increase over the next 5 years, all part of a long-term plan to make sure that the NHS is there for you.
Philip Hammond is also expected to bring forward income tax cuts and announce extra money for fixing potholes. Well, John O'Connell from the Taxpayers Alliance has been telling Talk Radio they'd like to see a planning overhaul to help home buyers.
The truth is that we need more housing built, and planning restrictions are the one thing that will help alleviate that. In the short term, he could also cut stamp duty, a very, very pernicious tax that keeps people locked into houses that are too big for them. They may not want to move and downsize when they really actually should be doing so. And the reverse, families stuck in houses that are too small for them when they have new additions to the family.
Officials in Indonesia say they're not expecting to find any survivors after a plane crashed shortly after taking off from the capital, Jakarta. 189 people were on board the aircraft, which was just 2 months old. It's claimed people in the UK throw away around 295 billion pieces of plastic every year. More than 2/3 of that can't be recycled, according to a report. Meanwhile, more than 250 organisations around the world, including L'Oreal, Coca-Cola and Mars, have pledged to end plastic waste at source.
Talk Radio National Weather.
Cold today with scattered showers in the east, dry with some sunshine elsewhere.
Talk Radio Sports Update.
With Selco Builders Warehouse. Thousands of trade products to buy online and deliver to your door the next day. Selco's got it.
I'm Ben Fletcher. Good afternoon. Jose Mourinho says bringing home 7 points from a possible 9 won't paper over the cracks at Manchester United. Victory over Everton lifts the club into 8th in the Premier League, within 5 points of the top 4. Mourinho admits keeping a clean sheet and scoring goals is a problem for his side right now. Sean Dyche admits competing with the Premier League's Big Six is becoming even more difficult. After a heavy defeat at Chelsea, the Burnley boss pointed out the visitors had 2 World Cup winners on their bench alone. And cricket, Joe Root has told TalkSport Johnny Bairstow is doing everything he can to return to full fitness. The Test skipper says they won't be rushing him back from his ankle injury, though. The 3-match series with Sri Lanka gets underway next week. The whole thing's live on TalkSport 2. That's the latest.
Talk Radio.
We observe today not a victory of party, but a celebration of freedom.
Across the UK, online and on DAB, the Independent Republic of Mike Graham on Talk Radio.
The Human Zoo, where they don't hide away the sick animals.
Dangerous mid-morning debate with the great dictator.
The Independent Republic of Mike Graham.
Stand to attention when I'm talking to you!
On Talk Radio.
Dismiss!
Good afternoon and welcome to the Independent Republic of Mike Graham right here on Talk Radio. There is a cold front blowing across Britain this morning and this afternoon because Philip Hammond is going to get up in the afternoon at 3:30 and supposedly outline the state of the economy. Apparently he's going to say it's actually doing quite well and that therefore he can give us something back. But don't hold your breath, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think we're going to be suddenly jumping up and down for joy because he's put the price of anything down. But we shall see. Of course, you'll hear all about it right here on Talk Radio. 03444991000. Now, apparently apparently, Philip Hammond moved the budget from Wednesday to Monday because he didn't want it to be nicknamed the Halloween budget. Didn't fancy seeing himself on the front pages depicted as some kind of wizard or ghoul or ghost. Well, guess what? That's what they're going to do anyway. The fact that it's Tuesday rather than Wednesday or Thursday makes absolutely no difference at all. Coming up a little bit later on, we're going to talk to Bear Grylls. He's just opened a new Adventureland where you can go and pretend to be an adventurer, which will be quite good fun. We'll find out what that's all about. You're listening to me, Mike Graham, and Daisy McAndrew on Talk Radio.
The Independent Republic of Mike Graham on Talk Radio.
Now, apparently, Halloween has been celebrated for many a year, and I always say this, that as a child, I was always sort of slightly out of sorts, because in Scotland, Halloween was always a thing, but in England it really wasn't. And when I went to school as a kid, nobody in England celebrated Halloween. Nobody did anything about it whatsoever.
We lived in one of the few areas that really did go bonkers for Halloween because we had an American school nearby.
Yes, of course.
So, of course, the American influence brought Halloween with them. And so I really did do trick-or-treating in our area. But then, without realising that the rest of London, the rest of the country really wasn't doing it.
I mean, we did ducking for apples. We had a thing called a treacle scone, which you hang from the ceiling, and my father used to take great delight swinging it in your face. So
I went trick-or-treating with Damien Lewis.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
How very posh. Was you sure it wasn't a stage school?
One of the few last times I saw him, about 30 years ago.
Very nice. So here's the thing. Apparently now Halloween starts last Friday, possibly last Thursday, runs all the way through the weekend. We've got pictures of people getting dressed up, going to parties in Manchester for the very scantily clad men and women, zombies, ghosts, ghouls, incredible scenes, right? You've also got, of course, loads of Halloween parties from Saturday night from where my kids were down in Sussex. And now we've got the real Halloween parties coming on Wednesday. I mean, it just seems to go on for a week now. I don't know when we started taking it this crazily and seriously.
My daughter was meant to be going to a Halloween party last night. So on a Sunday
night.
The night before they all going back to school, that was bonkers. And I actually asked my kids this morning, of all the holidays, including your birthday, so Easter, Christmas, your birthday, Halloween, well, rate them in order. And they both chose Halloween as their favourite, beyond above their birthdays and Christmas.
How interesting. Well, let's talk to Liz Taylor, who's a celebrity party planner. She might be able to make some sense of all of this. Liz, very good afternoon to you. Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon to you both. I was laughing, when you were describing the night out in Manchester, the Halloween, because I think that's really any Saturday night out in Manchester.
I think you might be right. I think my favourite picture was if this woman dressed as a sort of princess or something, eating a kebab out of a those polystyrene boxes with a fork. And I thought, well, I suppose if you're still capable of eating at that time of night, then good luck to you. But it does seem this year to be dragging on for like a week rather than just a couple of days.
I think because it's midweek. And I think that it's something that appeals actually to all ages. I've done lots of Halloween parties. I mean, I've done some really amazing stuff in private homes and marquees where we've had huge mirrors built and you look in the mirror and then this ghoul it's all light reflective and looks back at you and, the bride of Wildenstein, whatever it is, sort of flying through the ceiling. I've done lots and lots of superb stuff, but it appeals to everyone. So you've got the little ones that do the trick and treating, and then you've got, older people that take any opportunity to go and dress up and have a bit of fun. And it's a non-offensive night.
Well, it should be, but of course we've been reading for the last couple of weeks, not necessarily just in this country, but in America, what certain outfits can't be done, certain outfits can't be worn, they'd be considered to be in bad taste. So I mean, even there, you've got to be slightly careful, haven't you?
Well, to a certain extent, but I mean, I think that the critics are always going to find something to critique about. It is, from my perspective, it's a bit of it's an excuse for some sort of, if you want to call it, a celebration, and it's fun, and it can be sexy, and it can be young, and I just think it's great fun.
And Liz, do you think, because I often think when I think of those Halloween parties as sort of Hollywood type parties or celebrity, is it Jonathan Ross that famously has a massive Halloween party?
He does.
And you see all the celebs going, trying to outdo each other with their outfits. So I suppose maybe we all want a bit of that.
Funnily enough, my daughter's parking herself as her friends who lives next door to Jonathan Ross this year because of that, because he lights up his whole house and he does a really amazing thing. And we did a party recently. It wasn't a Halloween theme. It was a couple of weeks ago, but it was very similar. And everybody really got into it and got into the outfits and it's just, I think it's a great excuse to have a little bit of fun without offending or harming anyone, and I love the fact that the kids can be involved.
You don't think anybody's going to go over to the dark side? Because I've got very bad news for you, right? The Church of England apparently has sent out an advisory to say that children should try and avoid the lure of the dark side, and they should actually dress up as saints or go door to door handing out treats and Bible verses to their neighbours. I can't see that catching on for some reason, Liz. Can you?
Well, I hope they don't come to me for a party, because I'm goosed up and I'm not going to be able to do anything.
I mean, I think if they've lost Halloween, I think it's all over for the Church of England, to be honest.
Absolutely, absolutely. That and bonfire night and all these crazy things. But I think that people do... Listen, I've done some great parties for all sorts of different people, and I've done themes from down the Yellow Brick Road into Oz. I've done, as I said, one particular fabulous Halloween party. Their themes, they're fun, and they're embracing sort of the occasion. And I don't think, we can take life too seriously, really. I think that
Liz,
we've got to enjoy.
What advice would you give on sort of Halloween etiquette? Because I certainly know, in some areas where you get a lot of kids coming around trick-or-treating, and I get so cross when these little greedy hands come in grabbing great handfuls of sweets.
So you have, like, bucket of sweets? Is that what you have?
Yeah, particularly at my sister's house, where it's a really popular area for trick-or-treating, and there'll literally be hordes of them, and I get so angry with the kids who are kind of trying to snatch loads. I sort of find myself snapping at them.
When they bang and bang and bang on the door, because they really want you to answer.
Yeah.
I think that anybody under the age of 14 should be accompanied by an adult. I think it's the adult's responsibility to make sure that they're sensible, and it isn't a smash and grab, as you've said. It's just it's a bit of fun, and it's an opportunity for them to go out when they wouldn't be out after school, knocking on doors and having just enjoying it. And I think it's our responsibility to make sure that they are appropriately behaved.
Yeah.
But apart from that whole serious
what about the parents?
I also used to get really cross with those who'd made absolutely no effort to dress up.
No.
Basically, we're standing there in
Just
a hoodie,
turn up,
demanding sweets.
Right.
Like,
Otherwise
go
they're gonna
home
throw
and put a
eggs at your
costume on,
house.
and then come back. Or also, Liz, I was thinking about the etiquette of the fancy dress parties, because obviously, a lot of people do like dressing up, but some people really hate it, don't they?
They do, but then don't go. And I'm doing some events, and not all events, but some events where the client is investing a significant amount of money in turning that fantasy into reality and creating a whole wonderland of a scene there for people to enjoy, which involves booze and drink and entertainment. So if you're not if you're not into it, then don't go. But you can't turn up at a fancy dress party in your own clothes because you don't want to embrace the fancy dress. Don't go.
Don't be a party pooper.
And in your experience this year, Liz, I know you were saying it's partly because of it falling sort of right smack bang in the middle of the week. I mean, will there be a load of parties on Wednesday night as well? Because, of course, we've seen loads over the weekend, as Daisy was saying, some on Sunday, some on Saturday, some on Friday. And will there be a load more? Will Manchester turn into Ghoul City again, for example, on Wednesday night?
Well, I'll let you know when I'm out there in my outfit eating that burger with that fork.
Yeah, there you go. What's your outfit? Which outfit have you gone for?
Well, a witch, of course.
Of course. Why not? A white witch, I hope.
Of course.
You don't want to go to the dark side. That could be tricky.
And Liz,
been there and done that.
You were just talking about these amazing parties that you've created for your clients. What's the most expensive party your clients have had?
Oh God, I can't tell you that.
Was that a piece of?
I'm not asking for their name and address.
No, just tell us the amount.
Well, we do all sorts of stuff. We've had sort of projects in excess of $1 million, and we've had projects under sort of 5,000. But you're not going to go use an event organizer or a party planner if there isn't some budget involved. If you came to me and said, I've got £1,000, I'm getting married or I'm having a Halloween party, what should I do with it? I'd invest it in one really I do a huge cauldron with all the masses of some wonderful leaves, all the autumnal leaves and the berries. I do one massive thing right in the middle of the room that everyone walked in and went, oh my God, that is fantastic, rather than spread the money thinly. I've had people that have spent, £1.5 million on a weekend, but it's how you spend the money, and it's very difficult for me to throw figures to you today and justify them without when you without
I love hearing about
demonstrating what we're
people spending
doing.
lots of money. I'm not judgmental.
It makes Daisy feel better about her trip to IKEA later, where she's also going
It's
to
like
spend
going
quite a
to
lot.
a house and you go to your home and you might have an interior designer. It's the same. It's just mine doesn't last as long. But hey ho.
Well, here's one. I've got a tweet here from Roy, who sent a picture of all sorts of stuff that he's just bought down the shops. He says, "Spare a thought for me, folks. I just got peer pressured by a 4-year-old to get stuff to decorate the front of the house because the neighbours all go mad with it." He says he's £50 lighter in the pocket, and he's got all sorts of things like a pumpkin rope light, sound-activated string lights, a cemetery kit. You know, he's gone for the full.
No, he's like my sister
Monty
does
here.
the whole. She decorates her whole house, the front of it, and she has sort of things, blowing steam out.
We've got like a cackling skeleton, which we always hang out, which is quite frightening. The dog really doesn't like it.
When I first...
That's no way to talk about your wife. I think that's really rude.
Yes, thank you, Liz. If only that was true. But listen, have a fantastic time. I mean, after this period is over, do you then do bonfire night parties as well?
We do Christmas. We're big on Christmas here. We've got some really exciting Christmas projects.
Right.
Bonfire. I'm actually on the top floor of a building, so I get a magnificent view of the cricket club. So my mates are coming over, and we're going to have a few glasses of wine.
Very nice.
And watch it for free.
Absolutely, that's the way to go. Liz, thanks very much indeed. Liz Taylor, celebrity party planner. Funnily enough, when I was driving up on, just driving into London last night, somebody was letting off a load of fireworks. It's always quite nice to see
I
sort
love
of random
fireworks,
going off. We've got the bonfire night thing next weekend, so we'll do all that. But the best place to see the fireworks is actually to stay at home because we can watch them going up in the